Let's move back to our seats and strap in for the second half of our fun. Must be a lot of people in the bathroom. This place really cleared out.
Are you going to move to pass the rest of the warrant with one vote?
We already tried that. We won't go for it.
Okie dokie. All right. I think we're good. I don't see any stragglers out there. Let's resume. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Moderator, I move to amend the Norton General Bylaw, Chapter 110, Personal Bylaws, as printed in Article 5 of May 18th, 2026, Annual Town Meeting warrant, and authorize the town clerk, in consultation with the town manager, to make clerical and numbering changes consistent therewith.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Town Manager, would you be able to speak to this for the scant few that chose to remain?
Can I make a point of order?
Sure.
It says in the warrant that the Finance Committee recommended that no action be taken at this time, but what Mr. Rotundi just read is different for Article 5?
Please hold. No, I think you're saying that the Finance Committee did not
Yeah.
vote for that. But I think he's reading it on the sheet. All right. Okay, so quick procedural quirk. There was a discrepancy in the warrant and our motions. No? Okay. Okay. I think it was the Finance Committee had not recommended it, so there was just a who moved the question or made the motion. So, Mr. Kimball, do you just want to do us a solid and
Mr. Moderator, I move to amend Norton General Bylaw, Chapter 110, parentheses, Personal Bylaw, as printed in Article 5 of the May 18, 2026 Annual Town Meeting warrant, and authorize the town clerk in consultation with the town manager to make clerical and numbering changes consistent therewith.
All right, do we have a second for this one? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Back on track. Mr. Town Manager, take us away.
Thank you. Where were we? So this Article 5 was substantially narrowed from the original proposal to allow residents to discuss that in further detail. What's before this body is just the standard 2 targeted positions reclassification out of 500 or 600 employees. The intent with this one is to better serve seniors, schools, employees, overall day-to-day operations, and town meeting within town meeting approved budgets. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any questions on Article 5? That was a very nice move getting under the railing.
Thank you.
I would hurt my back. Go for it.
That's because you're old. Val Cabral, 50 Mansfield Avenue. Why was this not recommended by the Finance Committee? Can someone speak to that?
I will turn to FinCom Chair for a little history lesson.
If I recall correctly, it was the last second thing that we didn't feel we had enough information given to us in a timely basis to make a decision. And we also thought that, you know, we had pointed out earlier in our sessions where we had discrepancies on what was being presented. And so the committee as a whole voted or voted no action on this article.
If there are any other members in the Finance Committee remaining in the audience that don't want to speak, please feel free. But thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Any other questions on Article 5? Yes, sir. Mr. Sweeney. Go to the back. I have to have some rules, Mark.
There you go. Mark Sweeney, 14 Laurel Lane. Mr. Rotundi, no action by the Finance Committee. Is that also considered a vote against? Do you ever say, we vote against? And this is your way, not a way out, but is this your vote against, but you can't really say that?
To be totally honest, we originally voted this down in our meeting. And then, just like here, we had a motion to reconsider. It was reconsidered to no action. So the first vote was opposed
Opposed,
to this action.
if I may.
Yep.
Go back and forth with the chairman. Was it because it wasn't ready for you? You were angry? Or did you vote against the merits of the proposal or the article?
Yeah, I don't know if you can speak to that on behalf of the entire committee, Mr. Chair.
My impression was we voted, as we go through each budget within this town, we see personnel expenses, we see other expenses. And we had asked at certain points, hey, what you're proposing is going to exceed what the salary grade is for that particular position. And I believe the response back was, that's a next year thing. So we were like, okay, but you still got to deal with it.
Right.
And then later in our meetings, all of a sudden this comes up. And we're like, we had asked about this weeks ago, and it was a next year thing, and now it's coming up as a this year thing. And we were pissed, to put it mildly.
So
All right.
how should we vote? You are the if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Keep going. You are the recommendation body. I mean, people live and die by your recommendations. You know what I mean? If they're not into the article, they'll go, all right, whatever the Finance Committee says.
So I think to be clear on where we're at, the Finance Committee has voted no action on this.
Kind of like a no.
So they don't move it. It's not necessarily a down vote. It is a nothing, right? Not supporting.
I think at the end of the day, our feeling was let the town decide whether this is a good thing or not.
Great. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Kim Arena, 8 Fordham Drive. So from the town's perspective, the ones that proposed this, why should we? What makes sense about this? What changes, and why is this being proposed? What's the purpose of it?
Right. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you. So this is just a standard, every Springtown meeting, there's a position or two that's reclassified and then goes up in the range. And here there are 2 positions, one for seniors, one for human resources, 2 very essential facets of the government that really need to be, ironed out.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am, in the white shirt.
Hi, I'm Debbie Dage. I live at 87 Pine Street here in Norton, Mass. And I just want to first say that if this doesn't get approved, I'll be pissed at the Finance Committee. Because I'm one of the volunteers that struggle every single day to keep the senior center going. And we built this big, beautiful senior center that's bringing in people from everywhere. But we don't have any staff to run it. And I think that needs to be considered. I think every day sitting at that desk about seniors in the other end of that building, all alone with no staff anywhere. And I think that what we have is just a miracle that it goes every day. So I hope you'll vote for this, if that's what it is, a vote.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Jim Jardin, 135 North Worcester Street. I'm not speaking against this. I'm just curious if you could clarify exactly what a human resources generalist is and why that's needed now and not in the past.
All right, Mr. Town Manager, back again.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. With your permission, I'm actually going to turn the details over to Assistant Town Manager Shannon McMahon.
That sounds great. Ms. McMahon.
Good evening. A human resources generalist essentially is going to assist with my department, with human resources, with maintaining compliance with all of the legal standards, while also developing strategy for health insurance premiums. One of the things that we've been working on thus far is been negotiating the health insurance premiums, which are at an all-time high right now. We were able to take that from 13%, which was officially what was offered to us for the HMO plan, and get it reduced down to 7% through negotiating through the SMGH, which this position would be doing. As well as another caveat that we were able to do this year with this position was to also have individual counseling. Not sure if any of you were aware, but in a response to the overwhelming insurance premiums going up at Town Hall, we have offered some additional incentives to increase participants to go into the HSA high deductible plan over the HMO, as the HMO is significantly higher. We've been able to increase incentives in order to get that done. That kind of creative, collaborative thinking is done at a higher level. And we were able to already, probably in the first week, save over $150,000 to the town. These are kind of things that we want to do. We had a benefits and payroll position that was under the Treasurer's Department. It was under the clerical union, and that was more of a data entry. What we've never really had here in Norton is an HR department. We've had no job descriptions, no job postings, aside from job descriptions that are antiquated, 20 years old, certainly don't meet the current job description that we have now. It is almost impossible for us to be competitive in this environment without getting a good grasp of this. Having an HR generalist while having somebody there who does data input, things like that, having an HR generalist is a bit higher up there. And that's where we get into the individual counseling with retirees, of which we have many, who we offer our benefits to. So those are just a few examples of what an HR generalist does. We've also posted the job description. I believe that's out there as well. It was in the Finance Committee package as well.
Great. Thank you. Val.
Hello, Val Cabral, 50 Mansfield Ave. I'm curious about how we aren't competitive when we just had a relatively large ranging search for a town manager, and then we immediately also hired an assistant town manager, which wasn't a position that we had in the past. It kind of sounds like we might be competitive. It doesn't feel to me like we are in some kind of like dearth of being able to get job postings up because we don't have this position. The bigger issue that I have with it is it sounds like it was a last minute addition of basically $100,000 to the town budget. Am I misunderstanding that if you hire at the top of this HR generalist range, that is just under $90,000, and if you hire at the top of the Director of Senior Services, you are, again, adding seven-ish over what the current value is. So you're adding $100,000 to a budget in a town that is already struggling, and frankly, I actually am kind of upset that these are combined into one line item because I would be highly in favor of the senior services piece. But if someone can speak to why we think that we suddenly need a $100,000 increase in positions that was very last minute, when it seems like we are competitive, I would like to hear the justification for that.
All right. Ms. McMahon.
I can tell you this wasn't last minute. It was part of a more global amendment that we were aiming to do with the bylaw. Originally, we had intended on changing some of the bylaw to hopefully make it more in line with what the charter indicates. That became a bigger issue. We ended up getting town council involved, and by the time we got all of those things done, this was always on the table. The community and senior center was pretty much implemented in February. So we've known this was coming. This has always been part of that. It was just part of a bigger issue, and once that was becoming a difficult thing to get through, we just scrapped it so we could talk more to Finance Committee, have more one-on-ones with individuals about the things we're trying to do, maybe put forward a commission in order to look at the bylaws. But this portion, these two particular job descriptions were always the plan.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it wasn't adding a position, it's restructuring a position. So one of the positions at the senior center used to be the assistant human services. That person is now up to the director, and that's because of the massive turnouts we've had since we changed the senior center, community center to the bigger, I think I've said it to everybody I've spoken to, what used to be 20 to 30 people coming in and utilizing the senior center is now upwards of 200 people per day. So we're dividing that into a human services director and a senior services director so we can give more services to our seniors.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Chapman.
Moderator Jim Shabbat, 56 Mansfield Ave. Just maybe a clarification that I think is there, but I haven't heard. These are salary ranges, and I know we've discussed this at town meeting before. They don't affect the budget. They're just ranges we have to operate in. The line item for those departments remains. In other words, these don't cost any money. Is that correct?
So if I can distill that question down, is
In other words,
to a new
you've
position?
got a department with a certain budget. They have to spend within that budget. But then this says people who work in that department, this is their salary range. In other words, if your budget is $100,000 and you've got one person with a salary range of 45 to 65 and another person 35 to 75, and for make it quick, you pay them both 50. If you change the salary ranges, it doesn't give you any more money. You still have $100,000. You can change where you put it, but you don't get any more money. Would that be correct?
Ms. McMahon, Mr. Town Manager?
And that's correct. This just gives authorization for the positions. We're not hiring any new people. This is zero additional dollars.
Mr. Noble?
Yes, I'm speaking as a resident, not FinCom. Brandon Noble, 1 Gaffney Farm Drive. Just clarification, it was presented to FinCom last minute.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Siegel?
Orrin Siegel, 28 Cutting Road. I'd like to make a motion to amend Article 5 by removing human resource generalist position.
If you could bring that up here, take a look at it. Is there a second before we do it? Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
It's in 2 spots. Yep. Makes sense to me. I'll check it before. Alrighty. So we have a motion on the floor to amend Article 5, removing references seeking to add human resource generalist position. So if you look at your article, anything that is underlined as human resources generalist and associated lines would be struck from the article if that is approved. Yeah? So we vote on this amendment, or there was several seconds. Yep. Yep, Mr. Kimball?
So for years now, we've been listening to all of you tell us that we have to come up with a better way to run our government. We've hired a new town manager, assistant town manager, and some other personnel that are doing an excellent job of getting us back into shape the way we should be. This bylaw, I was on the Finance Committee in 1987. We had a personnel committee. Personnel committee would bring before the select board all of the non-union positions, along with a range of personnel and what they would be compensated for. We didn't have to worry about unions positions because they were already taken care of through union contracts. This bylaw is archaic, and we're going to try to get it out of the system. Every year I come here, we listen to the same conversation. We're challenged on a minor tweak in our job descriptions, and the range is always bringing some kind of conversation. What I'm telling you is, this is something we've been doing forever, and I'm hoping that we will make it go away. When we do our bylaw committee, we're just getting ready to form a bylaw committee to review our town charter. This is very archaic. We have a number of people here that are non-union personnel. The select board should be the ones to make that decision on what their job description should be. We should be able to put together a range. When we do the range, we have to come to town meeting anyway. You guys have to approve it. We can't just throw out $1 million increase for somebody and come to town meeting, because you guys will crucify us and say, why are you giving that big increase? I'm asking you to please consider leaving this in the position in, along with the other position, because it's a new direction we're taking. And the assistant just indicated to you that we're already saving money by doing this. We're looking at everything internally and trying to find the best way to do it. I would suggest to you that the school committee has the luxury and the ability to do exactly this. You don't see them come with non-union job descriptions or job titles or ranges. They're not required to do that. We are, under our present bylaw. So I would encourage you and ask you to please leave these positions in. Article 5 and Article 6 have always been hand in hand every year during these meetings. And I would encourage you to leave them alone. Let us try to do something with these new positions. And I'm pretty confident we can show you we can save you some money. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. All right, just to make sure everyone is on the same page, with the amendment being made, now we move to debating the merits of whether or not that amendment gets adopted into the language. We will eventually vote. If it is accepted, then that HR generalist position is considered struck, and we continue debate with the main article. Does that make sense? Clear as mud? Yes. So right now we're debating whether or not to adopt Mr. Siegel's motion or amendment to strike any references to the HR generalist position within this article. We will talk about that. We'll vote. If you vote in favor, that becomes the new language with the article. So it would just be the Director of Senior Services. And if you say no, then we go back to the article as printed in your warrant. Yeah. Okay. We good? I know, it's crazy. Mr. Sweeney.
Sorry to be up here again. Mark Sweeney, 14 Laurel Lane. Vote no on this amendment to remove the position. Let Mr. Gould, the new town manager, put his, as Mr. Shabbat said, put his team together, and this is how he's doing it. And it's going to cost, if I can ask the town manager, again, no change in big goose egg there. So vote no on this amendment.
Okay. Any other questions, discussions, comments on the amendment for this article? I'm seeing none, so we'll move to the vote on the amendment. If you are in favor of striking the reference to the HR generalist position, you vote in favor. If you prefer to keep the article as presented in the warrant, you vote no. Good. All those in favor of accepting the amendment made by Mr. Siegel for Article 5, please raise your hand. Okay. All opposed. The motion to amend Article 5 fails by majority vote. So now we go back to the main Article 5 with both positions still in them. Do we have any further discussion, conversation? Yes, Mrs. Holcomb.
A little too short, sorry. I'm looking at this and reading this article, and I'm just confused. I'm for the Director of Senior Services. I guess that position already exists. But if you read this article and you flip to, I don't know what page it is, but it says job classifications, and then there's a bunch of letters and numbers and dates and all of this. What does this mean? So it just seems very sketchy. This, the Finance Committee got up and said this is definitely last minute. It just seems like something's trying to get slipped in here, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And then you look at salary plan. It says plan details, amendment, 5/14/18, October 15th of 2018, FTM by Art. Like, what is that?
Mr. Fair?
Mr. Moderator, I believe those are just simply the references that exist already in the bylaw to when various town meetings that the bylaw was previously amended. So if you're looking at, for example, job classifications, amended 10/23/2017 FTM, that would be a reference to the October 23rd, 2017 fall town meeting at Article 23. And it's just a historical waypoint so folks understand when this was amended in the past and they could refer back to what those amendments were based on those references.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Fair.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
This position, again, I'm not arguing the senior center. I just want to make that clear because I don't want people to say, well, she was for the schools, but she wasn't for the senior center. Who did these responsibilities as human resource generalists? Who used to do those responsibilities, or who's doing them now, or are we hiring for this position?
Ms. McMahon?
Quite frankly, there was no position. What we've had here is we've had someone who did payroll, and we had someone who did benefits. And that's for the town side as well as the school side that this person does that. But there was nobody who was able to do what we're talking about now, which is the negotiating, the implementing, the negotiating with Blue Cross. As Mr. Gold said, we're up at about $500,000 that we've saved since February 2nd. So this is real numbers that really show. We need to have a payroll processing person. We need to have a data person, but we have in our possession someone who actually has the capabilities of doing what an HR generalist does. When the job description was posted for the payroll benefits data entry position, it's a data entry position. It requires a high school graduate degree. It requires knowledge of Microsoft Word and Excel. An HR generalist in the field, as defined by the AMA, is someone with a bachelor's degree in human resources or a similar study, or a master's degree in human resources. These are qualifications that we've had in someone who has been doing data entry. We want to keep that person and create this position because this position is so necessary. The fact that we haven't had this position in the past, and as soon as we got it and we saved $500,000 should pretty much tell you everything that we need to know about it. HR is a huge up-and-coming industry right now. We are at a very, very high risk, given the numbers that we have in Norton, that we don't have a fixed human resources department. Any lawyer in the world will tell you that it's very risky when we don't have someone who is very well versed in employment law, in COBRA law, in FMLA, in all of these distinct portions of an HR department. We're risking it. We're being very risky, and quite frankly, that's not the way the town manager would like to run this. We'd like to be secure. We'd like to also be secure in the fact that we are giving our employees the best benefits and the bang for their buck. Had we not had these meetings with the Southern Mass Health Group and these negotiations, we'd be paying 13% for Blue Cross like everybody else right now. Instead, we're paying 7% and 6.3% for those on the PPO plan. These are real numbers that are in front of you, and I would just ask that that we mirror what the AMA has indicated as best practice, and we follow what's been proven to work out so far.
Thank you. Mr. Schleicher.
Nick Schleicher, 40 North Worcester Street. So I think the issue here is I think everyone's a little confused because when we redid the assistant town manager position, that was also supposed to be in charge of HR, correct? So if we redid and reclassified that job to be head of HR, now we're hiring, which is fine. Again, I'm totally in agreement with Shannon, but it sounded like back in fall when we redid this, we were going to have an HR person, and that's why we did it. Now we're adding another position onto it. And then you said something about payroll, but it says on here, we're not losing the payroll person. So we're hiring a new position for somewhere between $55,000 and $89,000 for the HR generalist. Is that correct?
Ms. McMahon.
So the bylaw payroll person that you're looking at is not what this person was. I don't understand what happened prior, but the payroll and benefits person is a union job, and it's an AFSCME clerical union, and it was a grade C, I believe it's grade C, but that's not, I understand it's in the bylaw as that, but prior administration had moved it to a union. I'm not sure why it was never changed at town meeting, but that's where it was.
Okay.
And your first question was, my job.
Correct.
So yes, so my job is a senior leadership position, responsible for high-level administration, strategic planning, policy development, labor relations. Obviously, Town Manager Gould had indicated somebody with a strong, wanted someone with a strong legal background, which is a lot of what I do. In terms of an HR generalist, that person does work underneath me and works in complement, not at they don't share responsibilities, but they certainly complement each other rather than duplicate each other. The HR generalist is more of the hands-on day-to-day, and as I indicated earlier, this was the first year that we've ever been able to have one-on-ones for individual meetings to speak with someone in an HR department about changing their health insurance plans in order to best facilitate what's best for their families. And I've had many people come in with their spouses and sit for the 35 minutes with the person, with somebody in my department, and have these conversations. And every single appointment that was available was filled. A lot of those with teachers, a lot of those with police, a lot of it with fire. Lots of people felt very good about the one-on-one and the explanation and the going through it and implementing it and showing this is what's going to cost you out of your paycheck every 2 weeks. People found comfort in that. They learned something from it. These are things we want to have. We want to be as transparent as possible. We want you to be involved. We want the employees to be involved. Did that answer your question, Mr. Slaker?
Yes. Next question. The DPW director, again, I think in the fall, or it might have been last spring, I can't remember, when we did this, the assistant water and sewer super was built into that DPW position. So now it looks like we're adding that back on, because do we have that assistant water and sewer, do we have that person hired?
Nothing on the DPW has been changed in this amendment except for the 2 issues that we've just discussed.
So who's currently our assistant super for water and sewer?
So I think that's outside the scope of the article, Mr. Schleicher. If you want to come have a conversation with these folks afterwards, but this is just dealing with the Director of Senior Services and HR generalist.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
We'll go Ms. Daniels, and then we'll bounce over this way.
Hi, Paula Daniels, 54 Power Street. I'm a member of the Finance Committee. So basically, when we were going through the budget, we were told that in the treasurer's personnel line item, they were going to reduce 1 full-time position. That full-time position is the payroll and benefits administrator that you see here on the spreadsheet. And that position was being moved to the town manager budget. The town manager budget's personnel line item increased by $88,000 approximately because of this position being added and because of the increase in salaries being given to the assistant town manager. Personally, and as a finance committee member, I just feel like with our very tight budget, I don't agree with these increase in salaries when we're giving the teachers 2%, our firefighters and police getting 2%. I just don't agree with it. Sorry. I'm okay with the senior center position. This has nothing to do with that. It's the HR generalist.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Donna Summerfield, Newcomb Street. I am just very confused. This human resources generalist does not exist currently. We are moving somebody from data processing into that position? Is that my understanding, or I'm just very confused at this point.
Sure. So if we can get some clarity on whether or not there is an existing employee that would move into this role? Is that...
Yes, there is an existing employee who has been doing this role as kind of a pilot case for the since February.
But not at this pay level?
No, ma'am.
So you want to move that person into this pay level and then replace that person in the data processing at the
Yes.
old, at their current
Yes.
pay level?
And-
So it is adding a new position? Okay.
Mr. Town Manager?
This is not adding any positions. This is cost neutral. This costs $0. There's a person in the senior services director role. There's a person in the human resource generalist director role on an interim basis today. This is rearranging things. The way we're doing it is decades old. We're restructuring positions in the treasurer's department, in the accountant's department, in the town manager's department, in the seniors department, in the council of aging, and so on. We're modernizing. This just gives us the tools to save the taxpayers' money. It's simple.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Cheryl Senior, 169 Reservoir Street. I'm generally supportive of modernizing our staffing, but the assistant town manager said something that I'm a little confused, and I think maybe that's part of this, because it sounded like you said that a human resource generalist would generally have a bachelor's degree, but the person you are putting this on for has a high school diploma. It's just the way you said it. I didn't think that's what you meant, but that's what it sounded like.
I apologize if that was unclear. The job descriptions that were in existence indicated that the original, the data processing one required a high school diploma, as well as the Microsoft Word, Excel. The human resources generalist, the job description that we have just come up with in terms of for this pilot program, would require a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. The person who has been doing this job, we're lucky, happens to fit all of the qualifications for the job posting.
Great, thank you. We have one more person coming down. Mr. Evans.
Steve Evans, 5 McT Drive. I'm also a member of the Finance Committee. Now you understand why we had no action. We were getting conflicting messages all about, came to us the last minute. As a matter of fact, when it came to us for discussion, the Board of Selectmen hadn't even voted on this, so they didn't see it when it came to the Finance Committee. And I think it's the same conversations. There was a lot bigger article that this was going to be. That got changed. We all agreed we wouldn't bring it here. They wanted these two positions, but there's a lot of confusion going into this right now. I think the senior center is definitely something that's needed, warranted. I'm not so sure about the HR generalist. I think last minute, a lot of explanation wasn't there. A lot of changes are still happening. We're still not clear as to what this is doing, net negative, net positive, something's. But I can tell you from the member of the Finance Committee, this was not presented to us in a timely fashion. I'd almost say table this to the fall meeting when we can get the whole article. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on Article 5? Mr. Sweeney, back again.
Mark Sweeney again, sorry. Move the question, thank you.
All right, question has been moved. Do we have a second? Yeah. All right. So let's move right to the vote then. All those in favor of Article 5 as presented in the warrant, please raise your hand. Okay, all opposed? Yikes. I'd like to do a standing vote just to make sure it's kind of close from where I'm sitting. Yeah.
Point of order. I always wanted to do that. Is this a 2/3 or 50-50?
Yes, this is a majority.
Thank you.
50-50.
We haven't got the Senate yet. Budget.
Okay, all those in favor of Article 5 as presented, please stand and remain standing.
No resident yet.
Please be seated. All those opposed to Article 5 as presented, please stand. All right, please be seated. I'll do some quick math, and we'll get back on track. By a vote of 73 yes to 63 no, Article 5 passes as written. Article 6.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the total sum of $5,697,371 be appropriated for the Water Enterprise Fund for the fiscal year 2027 to be funded from water enterprise receipts and allocated as recommended by the Finance Committee.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on this line item? Mr. Siegel.
Oren Siegel, 28 Cotting Road. For me, it's more of a clarification. I know when we passed established the director of DPW, we were contemplating saving some money. I'm not sure how this reads and what these numbers represent, whether this is a new cost, because from what I'm seeing, it went from, in the case of water, it went up $617,000. In the case of, it's number 7, it goes up another $900,000. I'm just want to understand what that's for. Is that for a new project, or is that additional expenditures, or what are those funds going for?
Okay. Mr. Town Manager or Mr. DPW Director, if you'd like to speak to that.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Justin Chicka, the new DPW Director. If the increases that you're looking at are twofold, I guess. Personal services are going up because I am adding 1 FTE to the water department. It's kind of a combination between water and sewer. We'd like to split up the water and sewer superintendent positions so that you have a superintendent of water and you have a superintendent of sewer. The other additions are under, I'm just trying to see the way they word it, other charges and expenditures, which is an increase for software that the town currently doesn't have. That's both asset management software, that's work order maintenance software, and accurate billing software. So that's where those increases come from.
Thank you. Any other questions on Article 6? Seeing none. All those in favor of Article 6 as presented in warrant, please raise your hand. All opposed? Article 6 passes by majority vote. Article 7.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the sum of $3,287,007 be appropriated for the Sewer Enterprise Fund for the fiscal year 2027 to be funded from sewer enterprise receipts and allocated as recommended by the Finance Committee for Article 7 of the May 18th, 2026 annual town warrant.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on Article 7? Mr. Siegel?
Warren Siegel, 28 Cotting Road. Just to point out, my calculations, this is going up $909,124,000. I don't see how that falls under the categories of what you described as hiring. Unless there's a project or something else that calls for that kind of increase, I'm just questioning again where that money's going, what that money's going for. Thank you.
So the. Nope. Hold on.
One minute, I'm waiting to see, I'm checking to see if that's a typo. I'm going for 398.
Hey, Bill. I've been reading a lot about Vikings lately. It's very interesting. Do you know how Vikings used to communicate?
No, Jack, how do they communicate?
By using Norse code. Thank you. Don't worry, I am very close to running out of material.
I got it. Was it Mr. Sequel? I'm sorry. Is it Mr. Sequel? So if you notice down the bottom, for the first time in many years, if you look down the bottom, we're showing what we expect the surplus to be at the end of the year. So if you look in line item FY 2027 under the town manager, all the way down the bottom, you'll see budget surplus of $571,291. That's the anticipation at the end of the year that'll go into retained earnings. So when you say there's an increase of 900,000, it's because that's never been shown before. That's a surplus number. That's not a debt. It's not an expenditure.
So is that number not actually being appropriated then?
So we're going from 2,377,000 to 3,287,000 with that $571,000 surplus.
So that $571,291 is the projected surplus in that operating budget.
It goes into savings or retained earnings.
So we didn't have that in 2026? We didn't have those retained earnings?
You didn't have it when you were showing the budget, no.
But it was there. At
the end of the year, your total revenue came in, say, at $400,000 or $500,000 more than it was expected to.
Okay.
Oh.
So
I am showing it.
Let's move to a microphone if we need to ask questions, please.
For the first time ever, we're budgeting what we think your retained earnings is going to be at the end of the year. So there's an actual number there showing you at the end of this year, when all our revenue comes in and our complete budget is spent, we expect to turn around and put $571,000 into retained earnings or savings. I can't answer to why it hasn't been done before.
Mr. Moderator, if I may, It just calls for to pay debts and charges of the sewer enterprise as set forth below. Is that a payment of a debt or a charge? Or is it just an accounting recognition?
So when we make our budget, we take in your complete revenue. What's the complete revenue estimated to be next year? And what I'm stating is the complete revenue expected to come in next year is $3,287,000. That's the complete revenue. We're only asking to spend, I don't have the delta in front of me. 3.287 minus 571.
I wish you could make it more clear, but thank you.
Well, the way to make it clear is to not show that surplus.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Pat Gagnon, 142 Godfrey Drive. My question is, I can understand you're not having an answer for 2026 because we're in the middle of it. But if 2020, I haven't got my sheet in front of me, 2024 and 2025 would have a number that should have been gone, a real number for that, correct?
No, because those are your budget numbers that are up there. Those are strictly budget numbers. So at the end of the year, when more revenue comes in than the budget number for the past years, you didn't see that. It went into retained earnings.
Right, but my question is, we know in 2024 what the retained earnings were. No, for the net surplus?
Yes,
So
but it's
those-
not on this chart from years ago.
It doesn't, I understand that because you didn't have it in 2024, but now it's 2026. So you should have those numbers. If you put those numbers there, maybe people could understand this a little bit better. And a question mark in 2025. That's 2026 rather. I just think it's, you're confusing everybody by not having, you're comparing apples to oranges or apples to grenades.
Yeah, I mean, for the first time, we're showing you what your retained earnings is going to be. I'm not sure how else to explain that. We're doing it the correct way for transparency for you guys so that you see what you have going into retained earnings at the end of the year.
Explain retained earnings. Explain retained earnings.
I did. Retained earnings is a savings account.
What is it?
I did. Retained earnings is a savings
For what
account
Yep.
for the purpose of water and wastewater projects in the future. As we go on to the articles, I'm going to explain some of the money that we're looking to spend from retained earnings. We're telling you what we plan to put into retained earnings.
Do you happen to have what the retained earnings were for 2024 and 2025?
If you give me a second, I have the email.
All right. I think that might help clarify some things for folks.
I can tell you right now. I have it pretty readily. I wouldn't be able to do the delta. So in 2025, 241, 341, 441, 250,000 went into sewer retained earnings. In 2024, roughly 300,000 went into retained earnings at the end of the year. Like those numbers all add up to right now you have $3.6 million in sewer retained earnings and $5.2 million in water retained earnings. Savings account.
Thank you.
The select board member would like me to point out that those retained earnings can't be used unless you get select board approval,
Town meeting.
town meeting approval. So as you're going to see, like I mentioned, coming up in the next few articles, I'm asking to take money out of retained earnings for certain projects.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Donna Summerfield, Newcomb Street. You said you were hiring one person? Was that in this budget? I see a difference of, you subtract that $570,000 and you're still $300,000 plus.
But
So-
some of it's going to software, like I mentioned, for water. Sewer's paying a portion of that as well. So GIS software asset management software, maintenance software. So it's not all in the personal line item.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Cheryl Senior, 169 Reservoir Street. Just a point of clarification. It says here, you don't see it on the screen, it's the bottom of it. You're asking for the full 3.2 and change. But part of that is a net surplus
Correct.
that you anticipate.
Putting
Later.
into retained earnings or a savings account to be used for future projects.
So, and maybe I'm just not understanding this, but it sounds like you're asking for more, to take more money than you.
No, ma'am, because I'm telling you that I'm going to put it into retained earnings. I can't use it for any other purpose than what I'm allocating it for.
Okay. So there's a potential that this could be larger or smaller. down
Correct,
the road.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schleicher.
All right, so underneath personnel services, you're increasing that line item by 54%, is that correct?
Personnel services is going from 398,000 to 614,000.
Okay, so that's 54%, which is $215,841 more dollars for sewer.
Correct.
Okay, and that's two positions, an assistant sewer and
It's really only one FTE because as you mentioned before, that assistant superintendent, even though it's on the books, is not going to be filled, if you will. What I'm doing is I'm taking the water and sewer superintendents and splitting them up so that each division will have their own. So if you wanted to, you could say, well, that's the sewer superintendent and the assistant. Those are the two positions. Now they're going to be superintendents of water and sewer. I'm adding a foreman for each division under that. Right now you have one foreman, so I'm adding one foreman position. So it's one FTE.
okay. So, and again, this is where this town really screws people up. We were promised that when we voted for the DPW's position that we were going to save money. Okay, so we're clear that we're not saving money. I mean, I've never, 54% in 1 year to staffing. I mean, police, fire, schools, anyone get 54% to staffing? I mean, that's crazy numbers. And correct me if I'm wrong, with water and sewer right now, we have a super of water, and we don't even have an assistant super, correct? We have one position right now that's the super of water and sewer.
Correct.
Okay. So now we're going to have an assistant of water, assistant of sewer, a foreman of water, a foreman of sewer, and your position that we've added in the last year?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Schleicher. Mr. Sweeney.
Sorry, Mark Sweeney, 14 Laurel Lane. We're not talking, this is going to be property taxes, correct?
Correct.
Your whole budget, the water and sewer, your position, or maybe not your position, but the water and sewer are enterprise accounts, correct?
Correct.
So they're out of a completely different
Correct. Water
animal.
Water and sewer rates.
So when we talk police and fire, like Mr. Schleicher did, that's a
General fund.
That's a completely different situation. That's property taxes. Yours are water and sewer fees.
Correct.
So they're not, you can't really compare them. Correct?
Who pays the water and sewer fees?
Let's try to keep things a little. That was Mr. Schleicher coming back through. So I think the point that's being made is that the water sewer department is funded by the remittances that the townspeople pay for water, sewer, and projects.
And I'm not asking to increase that. I'm taking what you already have, moving things around and adding one position.
And you're also comparing your budget, that I think Mr. Schleicher was looking at, was that kind of like a 10-month budget that you were looking at in the past? There was a disconnect in the past, and you're comparing that to the past? I don't know if you...
I am aware of what you're talking about. I don't know if that's what we want to get into tonight, but it's basically the way that they were calculating revenue to do their budget. And this is a perfect example of they weren't, for a lack of, their management style was to show you that you had enough revenue to support the budget. Then at the end of the year, when there was retained earnings, that would go into the retained earnings account. That is a fine way to do it. What I'm telling you is I know there's going to be retained earnings at the end of the year. I know there's going to be money going into an account, and I can still afford to add these much-needed positions for the public safety of our people, our drinking water, and our sewer.
And the retained earnings is kind of like a profit or a fee or a margin, however you
A
want to look at it.
savings account is the
Leftover.
only way I can say it. It's a
Leftover.
savings account that can only be used for water, and a savings account that can only be used for sewer, and it can only be used if agreed upon by the town.
So water and sewer receipts over here are actually, you're not spending as much as you're taking in.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any remaining questions on Article 7?
Jack, can I jump in one more time?
Oh.
Have we, since we have all these retained earnings, did everyone's water bill go up? Is that why?
I don't know what the question is. I'm
So
sorry.
the question is, have the rates increased to drive the amount in the retained earnings?
I'm not sure when your last increase was, but I have not increased them, no.
Okay. Thank you. All right, and last call, Article 7. Okay, seeing none, move to the vote. All those in favor of Article 7 as presented, please raise your cards. Okay, thank you. All those opposed, please raise your cards. Article 7 passes by majority vote as declared by the moderator. Article 8.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the total sum of $81,281,282 be appropriated to fund the fiscal year 2027 operating budget for the purposes and in the amounts recommended by the Finance Committee, and that to meet said appropriations. $77,044,965 to be raised and appropriated, $681,847 to be raised from water receipts, $215,889 to be raised from sewer receipts, $3,338,581 to be transferred from available funds. All as detailed in the recommendation of the Finance Committee for Article 8.
Second.
Okay, folks, so this is the operating budget for the town. There's a lot of information there. So rather than going through as one big chunk, we usually go page by page. So Stella, our wonderful assistant town clerk here, will kind of guide us through. If you have any questions, throw your hand up and we'll get to you. Yeah, I see there's somebody already standing up to fire away.
Yes, I'd like to know, Donna Summerfield, Newcomb Street. I'd like to know how much free cash we actually had this year that was certified and how much I see we're using 1.77. And is the balance going into stabilization?
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir.
My name is Bill Rowe. I'm with I'm an accounting consultant with the firm of Eric A. Kinshirf LLC, CPA LLC. We're the interim town accountants. So we have, so the current balance in free cash at the start of the meeting was $2,190,635.69. $2,190,635. 635.
And just to clarify, is that before or after the allocation to this year's operating budget?
That's at the start of this town meeting. So that includes the amounts used in October, and that would be the available balance before the start of this town meeting. We're projected to be using $2,128,268, which leaves 62,000 roughly.
Okay, thank you. Gentleman in the blue shirt.
David Thompson, 7 Park Lane. I'd like to ask the town manager, personnel services. This past year, 335,000. Looking at next year, 427,500. That's a 27% increase. I'd like a rationale as to why that is changing.
Mr. Town Manager? I think he's just looking for an explanation of why the jump from 26 to 27. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, yes, happy to, Mr. Moderator. So there was one employee moved from the Treasurer Department to the Town Manager Department. In addition, the Town Manager Department was under budgeted this current year, and there are a couple contractual salary increases, and travel expenses were reduced. Thank you.
Thank you. Seems like a really big jump in 1 year.
Thank you. Any other questions on this page, starting with Select Board 122? Mr. Siegel?
Point of information, I have a question on the overall budget. Is that discussed at the end, or do I do it in advance?
Fire away.
I'm looking at maybe I'm looking at the wrong number, but the FY26 budget compared to the Finance Committee 27 budget is an increase of $2,393,449. The question I have is, I understand that the new town manager is doing some reorganization. How many people have been terminated or left the town employment, and have those positions been filled, or are you contemplating increases for the positions that you're replacing?
So how many open headcount there currently is within town?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And I'm happy to talk to the budget in general. This is frankly why I was hired, to get Norton back on solid financial footing. So I've implemented for the first time a plan. This year is a reset year. Next year is an alignment year. The third year is a stabilization year. I inherited a system where we're spending $2.5 million more than we're taking in. That's not sustainable. This year's budget cuts that by $720,000. We're going to be where we need to be in 3 years. This gets us there, a third of the way there. If we continue on this path, we're going to have a fiscally responsible future. You're going to have all the services you have now, even more. We're adding services and saving money at the same time. For example, in the IT budget, we've saved $70,000, increased services, paid for extra school electronic displays, capital expenses, out-of-town operating funds. We are saving money left and right. As far as transition, personnel turnover, it's not uncommon during periods of operational transition, modernization, for some staff to turnover. To be clear, 0 employees have been fired. When there's openings, we're evaluating operationally how to best fill that gap. Not necessarily that position, that'd be short-sighted. We're looking at how to best serve the residents. How can each department add value to the taxpayers? And that may or may not be the same structure that existed decades ago. Probably isn't most of the time. So we're looking at how we can best structure our departments to serve the people.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Town
you.
Manager. Okay. Any questions on the page currently shown? Select Board 122 at the top. Seeing none, let's go to the next page. Pause here. Any questions on this section of the budget? Seeing none. Next page, please. Starting the header, Legal Services 151. Any questions here? Yep, sir.
Data processing, and again, we're seeing another huge increase there, up to 100,000. That's a 51% increase. Like an explanation of that, please.
If you could just state your name and address just for...
David Thompson, 7 Park Lane.
Thank you.
Which line, sir?
I am on data processing, personnel services.
Oh, yes, that's
It's going from
because,
65,000 to 100,000.
yes, that's because we reduced 140,000 consultant, no, 172,000 was reduced and 40,000 was added. So that's a net 70,000 benefit to the taxpayers. So there was a part-time employee. We made the part-time employee a full-time employee. So now so that adds 45,000.
Yep.
We no longer need the consultant that we were paying $120 an hour for 12 hours a week, which is $172,000. So we're not paying $172,000. We are paying $45,000 more. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you have a plan, but I would love to, I don't know whether there's a document someplace that can go out that actually details that plan, because you've kind of scoped it out here, but the actual details are not there.
It'll be on the website first thing in the morning.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, and if I could, Mr. Moderator, we have a structural deficit in this town, and at some point that, you're talking about funding we're going to get. We haven't gotten our libraries back at our elementary schools from 15 years ago. So there is a structural deficit in this town that consistently people have not taken the steps needed, and there's a combination of taxes and, new growth and revenue in this town to meet the services. We have a community center, senior centers that's not being occupied. We have schools that lost over 20 people 2 years ago who have not been brought back, and a 2% increase, 2.1 for the schools and 2 for the town, when the inflation rate that was sent out by the Commonwealth was 3% this year. That's not a number that's sustainable. And we need to look at how we are funding this town if we're going to keep our services. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Val?
Val Cabral, 50 Mansfield Ave. Does the $45,000 that you just said, that is adding to take the person from part-time to full-time, is that their actual cost of employment that includes their benefits? Or is that just a flat, they were making X and now they are making X plus 45,000?
Mr. Town Manager.
Contractors are usually more expensive because you're not paying them benefits.
You wouldn't list benefits in this section. There's out of the 351 towns and cities in Massachusetts, none of them do that.
Right, so I'm not asking to do that, but you're saying, when you say 45,000, just so that we're clear, you are promoting someone without benefits at part-time to full-time at an increase of $45,000, and the town also paying more because that person's getting benefits, right?
The person that retired had benefits. This person also has benefits. If I had to do quick math, it adds 5,000 to 10,000 and saves 60,000 to 80,000.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions on this page? All right, let's move to the next. All right. All righty. So any questions on this page? First, bolded header, elections 162. Seeing none, we'll move to the next page. First bolded header, Southeastern Regional Planning and Economic Development 176. Any questions here? Seeing none, we'll go next page. We're on the page, postage, all departments, 199. Any questions here? Seeing none, next page, please. Starting with emergency planning 240. Anything here? Yep. Ms. Corral.
Val Cabral, 50 Mansfield Ave. Did the fire department budget go down? I'm reading that right? I'm just surprised that that wasn't highlighted and none of us asked questions about it, but it looks like in 2026 it was 5,000, but both the personnel services and charges and expenditures were higher than in the FY27 recommendation, right?
Can we just go back one page, Stella, if that's okay?
So there's not a 2% increase to the fire department. There's nothing. And in fact, a decrease. Am I reading that right?
So the question is,
Did the fire department budget decrease from last year? I don't have like an argument or a reason. I'm just, am I reading it right?
The numbers are correct. Due to the construction of the Council on Aging, the Town Hall electricity was moved budgets. Due to personnel turnover, stipends were removed and changed. Yes, it's correct.
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Town Manager. So let's go back to emergency planning 240. Seeing no questions, next page. Animal control 292. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, could we go back a page?
Absolutely, we can.
I would like to look at the communication center. My name is Donna Summerfield. It went up quite a bit, it seems, from 2025. I thought we were doing I may be wrong here, but I thought years ago we were doing a regional communication center, and this was not going to be as drastic as it is now.
Mr. Town Manager?
Through you, Mr. Moderator, this is the SEMREC annual assessment, and that's the amount that SEMREC provided us to estimate our charges. We're together with 4 other towns in this consortium, and this actually has saved us millions, and they provide first-rate service, and it's the first year it's gone up. It's a quality operation, and we're pooling our resources to buy technology. We don't have to buy a switchboard every year. They have state-of-the-art technology, and we were paying that same amount like 4 or 5 years ago. So there's actually been a significant savings. And that's not a number we control. That's the annual assessment.
Thank you. Mr. Wheeling? Next page? All right. Thanks, Stella. Okie dokie.
So Alan Boulay, 9 Charles Lane. My question is with the school department with regards to the turf fields and rentals. My concern is we do a great job renting the turf fields. I don't want maintenance required on those fields in the future, end up like we have the situation at the middle school. How are we budgeting maintenance for these turf fields, specifically with all the revenue with the rentals that we have?
Dr. O'Neill, I'll let you field that one. I'm surprised you don't have the maintenance costs just right top of mind.
There's a lot of numbers involved. Thank you so much for your question. So when we bring in the rental income, we actually have a number of outside organizations that are interested in our fields. One of them is the NFC soccer group. There are kids in our fields often. All of that goes into a very specific revolving account for the athletic complex. That is how we maintain the fields. There are certain things that need to take place each year with a particular, turf company. And so we have collected, and I want to say about $400,000 in that revolving account at this time. And that is what we use for maintenance. That is what we use for any costs related to the field as well. And hopefully, when it's time for us to replace the fields, we will have a good chunk of that funding ready to go as well.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Dr. O'Neill. Any other questions on page heading Animal Control 292? All right, let's go next. Regional Agricultural School 308. Seeing none, let's move forward. Sanitary Landfill 438. Seeing none. We can always go back to a page if somebody decides they want to ask a question. Next, Council on Aging 541. Seeing none. Next page. Recreation, 630. Seeing none. Next page, maturing debt, 711. Alrighty, nothing there. And last page, unemployment compensation, 911. All right, I don't see any questions there. Last call for any questions regarding Article 8. Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 8 as presented in the warrant, please raise your hand. All opposed? Article 8 passes by majority vote as declared by the moderator. Article 9. Article 9. Article 9 is declared lost for lack of a motion. Article 10.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to appropriate the total sum of $2,172,761 for the capital items and projects for the purposes and in the amounts detailed in the recommendation of the Finance Committee for Article 10, including equipping of vehicles and all other costs incidental and related thereto, and further to authorize contracts for periods of up to or in excess of 3 years and lease purchase agreements for the specific items shown in italic text, with such items and projects to be funded as follows. $929,261 from the capital improvements account, $690,500 from the ambulance reserve fund, $43,000 from water enterprise retained earnings, $30,000 from sewer enterprise retained earnings, and to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the select board to borrow the amount of $480,000 pursuant to general laws, chapter 44, subchapter 7 or 8, or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes of the town. Therefore, all is printed in the recommendation of the Finance Committee for Article 10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Town Manager, you mind just giving us a quick run through?
Happy to, Mr. Moderator. So this is the capital plan. I'm really excited about this. All the department heads are working together as a team, and we're not only doing a 5-year look out into the future, we're doing a 10-year look into the future, because there's a lot of capital that we have that we need to take good care of. For example, the turf fields, and we have a lot of buildings and assets. So we need to plan ahead, schedule these things: fire engines, cruisers, a hot box to repair potholes, school technology upgrades. The goal is to maintain core town assets and operations through planned replacement and proactive long-term planning rather than reactive response to something that we should have been planning for, setting aside a sinking fund. And it's no surprise that when a cruiser that's been going 100,000 miles is getting rust on it and needs to be replaced. So we need to plan for these things, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Great. Thanks, sir. Any questions on Article 12 capital? Yes, ma'am.
Donna Summerfield, Newcomb Street. Could you give me some information on these pickleball courts? That's $40,000. Where are they going? Where are they to be located? And who's building them?
Who wants to take the pickleball court question?
It's 40 grand.
You can lob that pickleball question to me. This 40 grand is actually, it's actually 60 grand for pickleball courts. The plan is to have them go at the middle school tennis courts that are existing now, to take, I believe, two of the tennis courts away and add 6 pickleball courts. If you've been over to those tennis courts, you would notice that there's a lot of settling that goes on those courts. Every year it seems like we've tried to seal them up and the cracks open up. So what we're planning to put in is the portable tiles that you see, like at Gillette Stadium, where they're tongue and groove lock-in courts, so that if the day does come where the pads need to be replaced, we can pull up the courts, redo the pads, put the courts back down. The other 20,000 is coming from the Parks and Rec revolving fund. I'm sorry, some of the money was approved last year, Mark, is that correct, Mr. Town Manager?
Yeah. So who's going to control usage of them?
It'll fall into Parks and Rec.
So are they going to be locked? Are they lit over there? I mean, I don't really remember if they're lit.
I don't believe they're lit, but as far as locked, they won't be able to be used during school hours, obviously, but at this point, they'll be unlocked after school hours.
Okay.
Great.
Probably more to follow with that, but it will fall under Parks and Rec.
Thanks, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Rachel O'Neill, 17 Buddhist Drive. So you just said that School hours, they'll be locked, so they can't be used during the day, all week, only on the weekend. Is that correct?
After school hours, so evenings, afternoons, weekends, correct?
Afternoons when?
Like
So
the tennis
kids are
courts
still
are-
there till at least 4 o'clock.
No, I believe when the school day's over, superintendent can
Sounds like
probably
the specifics are
speak
kinda-
on that, like the tennis courts are now.
Is there anywhere else we can put them that people can use them during the day?
Come on back, superintendent. Not at the $60,000 cost, no.
Okay. I'm good.
So just like the track and other areas within the school, on school grounds, they are not open to the public during school hours. That way, we're keeping our school grounds, safe and secure as much as we can. And they would not be used after school. We don't have a pickleball team or anything like that, so it would be available after 3 o'clock when middle school gets out. And it was, for us, the tennis courts were no longer being used for our tennis team. We have beautiful new tennis courts over here behind the Henry A. Yale School. So ultimately, we didn't have a use for them, and Parks and Rec did, so we were happy to share that space.
Thank you, Dr. O'Neill. Any other questions on Article 10 for capital expenditures? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 10 as presented in the warrant, please raise your hand. All opposed? Article 10 passes by two-thirds majority vote as declared by the moderator. Article 11.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to approve Article 11 as printed in the warrant.
Second.
This is basically to pay for our snow removal this past year.
Any questions on this article here? Seeing none. All in favor of Article 11 as presented in the warrant? Opposed? Article 11 passes by two-thirds majority vote. Article 12. Article 12. Article 12 is declared lost for lack of a motion. Article 13. Article 13. Article 13 is declared lost for lack of a motion. Article 14.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to approve Article 14 as printed in the May 18th, 2026 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Second.
All right. Mr. Town Manager, I think this one could benefit from your expertise.
Happy to field this one. This is the same as it's been the last few years, identical actually. In the next year, I do have a goal to go through all the accounts, including the revolving accounts, the gift accounts, the grant accounts, the capital accounts, the debt exclusions, all of it. So next year I plan to come back with a more itemized revolving fund. For now, this is exactly what you approved last year, the year before. Essentially, it just allows us to spend up to that amount for those specific reasons.
Thank you, sir. Any questions on Article 14? Y'all are getting tired out there, I can tell. All in favor, Article 14, please raise your hand. Opposed? Article 14 passes by majority vote. Article 15.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the town vote to transfer the sum of $240,000 from free cash to the Compensated Absences Trust Fund to be expended by the town manager and town accountant.
Second.
Mr. Town Manager, if you could just do a quick explanation. I think this is a new one to us.
Sure, yes, happy to. So this is the compensated absences account that was established by this body a couple years ago. And this keeps it up to a level of about a third of our liabilities, which is, it's safe, it's where we need to be. We do have a lot of buyouts when employees retire, then they are paid out their accumulated sick and vacation amounts. So that's what this compensated absences account allows us to do. Fulfill our contractual obligations.
Thank you. Any questions on Article 15? Seeing none. All in favor, Article 15 as presented. Opposed? Article 15 passes by majority vote. Article 16.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $60,000 and approve Article 16 as printed in the May 18th, 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Mr. Chifka, would you like to speak to this?
This is a request to move $60,000 from that enterprise retained earnings we talked about earlier. This is a project to extend the sewer along West Main Street, including the preliminary design, feasibility analysis, and other costs. This is basically a study to see what would best suit that area, whether it would be a force main, whether it be gravity, whether it would be a pump station. This is a study for $60,000 to extend it from its current area of Freeman Street, I believe, all the way down to southwest to try and grab the two schools along the route.
Thanks, sir. Any questions on Article 16? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 16? Opposed? Article 16 passes by majority vote. Article 17.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $200,000 and approve Article 17 as printed in the May 18th, 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Like to come back up?
This is a water project. This is, again, to take $200,000 from the roughly $5.2 million that we have in retained earnings. This is to do an actual design, though, not a study. This is to design a new interconnect with the town of Mansfield. As you may or may not know, the town of Mansfield is redoing their side of the interconnect over the next 2 years. We'd like to do ours. We have a undersized piece of pipe that connects into Mansfield, so we would like to increase the size of that. Add some valves to be able to shut off or turn on as we allow, and actually also put a flow meter in so that we can, determine the flow that we either send to the town of Mansfield or we receive from the town of Mansfield.
Thanks, sir. All right. Any questions on 17? Seeing none. All in favor of Article 17 as presented? All opposed? Article 17 passes by majority vote. Article 18.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $216,000 and the sum of $30,000 from sewer retained earnings and approve Article 18 as presented in the annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Come on back up.
For those of you who don't know me, no, I'm just kidding. Again, this is to take some money from water and sewer retained earnings. The big project on this, as you'll see, is the replacement of roughly 500 residential water meters over the next year. Right now, we have about 700 estimated reads. We need to get on a cycle where we're replacing our water meters at a capital, at a reoccurring number every year. So this is to get 500 of those replaced. This is also to replace the last carbon tank at the water treatment facility, $26,000. We've done the other four. And to empty, clean, and revamp the 5 water tanks over at the water treatment facility. So the total ask is for $216,000, of which, and 30,000 from, so 216 from water and 30,000 from sewer.
Thank you, sir. Questions on Article 18? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Article 18 passes by majority vote. Article 19.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 59, Subchapter 5, Clause 22G.
Second.
Right. Mr. Dorney.
Good evening. Richard Dorney, 24 Talbot Drive, Chair of the Board of Assessors. At our December 16, 2025 meeting, the board voted unanimously 3-0 to present this to you this evening, this Clause 22, for a vote and acceptance. In short, we have roughly about 121 veterans that own their homes and receive an exemption. Currently, this Clause 22, with the change, will allow them a fiduciary ownership change. In other words, they can put it in a trust or conservatorship, and they can still receive the exemption. And obviously, this will carry over to new veterans that are qualified to receive the exemption as well.
Thanks, sir. Yes, Mrs. Slattery.
Jim Slattery, 3630 Street. I call this no good deed goes unpunished. I decided to put my property in a trust about 7 years ago. The town passed an abatement process for the elderly, which I am, and also one for veterans, which I am. And I don't qualify because my home is owned by a trust. I live in it, I pay the taxes on it, I domiciled here in Norton, but whatever the laws are, I did not qualify because I don't own my house. My daughter lets me live in it as executor. She doesn't pay the taxes or anything else on it, but I'm thankful for this article, and if you want to know the reason for a trust, ask a lawyer.
Thank you, Jim. One good point is the veteran does need to reside in the home.
Thank you. Ms. Chabot.
Make this really quick. I just want to clarify that we are not allowed to decide who we send the tax bill. It's Chapter 59 that dictates that. This fixes the problem so that we can give our veterans. So it's not a town decision, it's a state decision, and we have to adopt it to do it.
Correct. With the Clause 22, just allows the town to accept the exemption.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions on Article 19? Seeing none, all in favor, Article 19. All opposed? Article 19 passes by unanimous vote. Article 20.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 59 and 59A, and adopt a new bylaw, Chapter 164, Brownfields Tax Abatement Agreements, as printed in Article 20 of the May 18th, 2026 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Second.
All right. Who wants to explain this one to a very tired crowd? You getting your steps in today, Mr. Gould?
Take one for the team. Brownfields tax abatements. So what brownfields is, it means properties that may contain pollution or contaminants, as our conservation agent told me. This would adopt a local bylaw that allows us to help encourage people to clean up properties and provide a net return to our taxpayers, our residents. So it's honestly a win-win, and it's kind of exciting how it works. It allows the town to negotiate agreements with people that have inherited a property or bought a property through no fault of their own, but it's polluted. They owe money on taxes. So we can negotiate a portion of that, say 25%, 50% of it, in exchange for them to pay back the other taxes that they would otherwise not pay, and put the property back on the tax rolls and clean the environment. Town meeting, if you approve this tonight, it doesn't address any particular property. It just allows us to make a deal, negotiate a arrangement with the owner, take it to the select board, and it would only become effective after they clean the property. And so it's a win-win. Thanks.
Mr. Warshall.
Hey, Steve Warshall, 30 Wampum. Just a question about this. Is this limited only to commercial and industrial zoning, or can it be in another district? We have two places, Tweeve among one of them. That's residential zone. So would that qualify?
Yes, it's not zone limited. It is, primarily to take care of industrial and commercial pollution, but there's no express limitation. In fact, there's currently 105 lots, properties that it could apply to in Norton.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you. Mr. Siegel?
Orrin Siegel. Excuse me, but I'm looking at section 1.64-2, and it seems to limit it to zone commercial and industrial use. Am I reading it wrong?
Could you just say that section number again?
Section 164-2, eligible properties, and it says is zone commercial and industrial use.
So I think the question is under section 164-2, eligible properties, bullet number 1 says is zoned for commercial or industrial use.
When I'm wrong, I'll admit it.
Okay. The other question I had is there any particular current properties that are being targeted? And in particular, I'm not sure what the status is of Elm Street. I know that was years ago in terms of our lifespan, but is that something that's still on the boards or the town's radar in terms of this type of a
Definitely on the radar, not the sole reason for this, but I think everyone would agree getting the Reed and Barton property cleaned up would be a great thing for the town.
And is there any limit to the extent to which the abatement could be granted?
Not that I'm aware of. We would negotiate hard.
Typically, the town would grant an abatement beyond 10
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
20 years? Is that typical?
No. It's not a forward-looking abatement. It's say they owe $100,000, $200,000 in past due taxes. We would say, okay, pay 75% of that. We'll waive 25% of that in exchange for cleaning up the pollution, paying the 75% of it, and paying more taxes each successive year.
Okay. I might have missed something. I didn't see that being clarified. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Guiomar Turgeon. I'm at 58 Barrow Street. I'd like to ask if there are any provisions for protection. Some of these sites that you're thinking for abatement are quite hazardous and actually need to be done by environmental specialists. We are very familiar with that with the Shipak landfill cleanup that happened and is still affecting our water supply and our quality of life in that area. And some of these, especially the Tweeve manufacturing, would greatly affect the residential areas in Barrowsville. So I don't see any type of protections on this, and I am hesitant to support something without that type of environmental protection. Thank you.
If I may, through you, Mr. Moderator, so this doesn't take anything away from the normal DEP requirements. If a landowner would still have to go through the standard process of reporting the pollution, the contaminants, performing the phase 1, phase 2, and 3 as appropriate studies, and removing the soil to however many feet the DEP say. If there's low pollution, a surface 1 or 2 feet, or provide pavement cover and encapsulate it. If it's more serious, as deep as 5 or 10 feet to remove it. And it's a very expensive process if you have to go down that deep. They would still have to follow all those requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Barbara Lee, 58 Barrow Street. I also have concerns about the Tweed because I know it's been looked at from time to time. It's sitting over a huge water source. That area is always having problems with flooding. Floods all the way down the street. People in some of those areas had to move out during that time period. It's very, very, very particular. I think this also gives the town manager and the Board of Selectmen unlimited authority on this as far as negotiations. I would like this to be further studied. I see what you're doing. I think you're trying to get some money back and get some things cleaned up. I get that. But I've also worked in the past with Serped and various places, and this really, really is too streamlined for me. I would hope that we could table this to another time, or I don't know what the official thing would be to do. I think this needs more discussion, and I don't think there's enough people here this evening to warrant what this really means to the people who will be affected by these kinds of deals that may impact very negatively people in those areas.
So I believe, and Mr. Fine, please correct me, there is an ability to table or refer back to committee an article if that motion gets made. Is that correct? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So would you like to make a motion to table this? Okay. So if you just want to come back up to the microphone. Yeah. Oh. No, yep. If you just want to make that motion. And then,
You want to make a motion for it back?
yeah.
Make a motion to table this article at this time for further discussion.
All right. So just to be clear, according to Attorney Fine, or Fair, sorry.
To return it to the committee.
Refer back to committee? Yes. Okay. Is there a second?
And then
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of referring this article back to committee? Please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion to refer back to committee does not pass. Mr. Warshall, and then we'll go back to Val.
Yeah, Steve Warshall, 30 Wampum Road. Just looking over this real quick, I want to reiterate, I don't actually think it goes far enough as far as limiting only to commercial industrial zone, because we have a few properties that aren't zoned that right now that we need cleaned up. But I would ask everybody that we should probably support this. This is a good tool for us.
Great, thank you. Val?
Val Cabral, 50 Mansfield Ave. So this doesn't cover Tweeve, correct? Because a couple people, so it was asked about Tweeve, and then it was noted that actually it is only commercial and industrial, and Tweeve is residential zoned, right? And then a couple people still referred to Tweeve in what they were talking about. I just want to be clear, Tweeve does not get touched by this, right? Like that's, because it seemed like we were still not sure.
Yeah,
I'm asking someone to confirm because I'm not on any of these boards that made this. Yeah, no, like someone at the mic, like somebody who,
Yeah.
hi,
Yeah, the question is.
I live here.
Will the Tweed property be covered under this item?
like two different people mentioned it after it was asked.
I don't mind addressing this.
Mr. Warshall?
My understanding, as I read it, a commercial or an industrial use or zoning would qualify. Tweeve itself is not a use at the moment, and it's zoned residential. So it wouldn't qualify as far as I can tell. And
That's what I
neither
thought.
would Schpack. But both of those sites, if the town decided to rezone it, would then be able to qualify.
Fair.
So something like Tweeve is adjacent to an existing village commercial zone, that we could do that.
Just wanted to be clear because a couple people asked.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Any additional questions on Article 20? Seeing none. All in favor of Article 20 as presented in the warrant? Opposed? Article 20 passes by majority vote. We've already dealt with 21. 22.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 138, Subchapter 12D.
Second.
All right. Mr. Town Manager, you're back under the gun.
So this is just a state law we're adopting. It's a new law that allows us to promote more business, more full liquor licenses. Currently, the rule is one liquor licenses, license per 1,000 residents. So we have 19,000 and change. So we have 20 full liquor licenses. This would allow people with malt and wine licenses, of which we have 5 available. That's the minimum any town gets in Massachusetts. Those 5 would be able to convert to full liquor licenses. That means there's 2 currently that would be eligible, Bogies and Wheaton College, and they would have to apply to the select board to do this.
Thank you. Any questions on Article 22? How many strings would we need to pull to get a beer and wine license for the auditorium? Just asking for a friend. Probably a lot. Dr. O'Neill is not making eye contact with me. All those in favor of Article 22? Opposed? Article 22 passes by majority vote. Article 23.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to approve Article 23 as printed in the May 18th annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Mr. Chifka? Mr. Gould, falling back on the sword.
I'm not as good looking, but this this removes the mandatory 5-year sewer tie-in requirement. When sewer comes to your road, which this would only make you be required to tie in if you fail the septic inspection, or when you sell your house, the next owner would have to tie in. So it's a benefit for homeowners, and it promotes sewer expansion, which promotes new growth, reducing the cost to taxpayers, and actually reducing the cost to ratepayers, because the more sewer we have, everyone's chipping in for pump stations, and the individual homeowners are paying comparatively less.
Thanks, sir. Any questions? Article 23. Mr. Boulay.
Alan Boulay, 9 Charles Lane. This still doesn't change the fact that if a private company puts a sewer in a road, we are not required to connect, correct?
Question is, do private companies need to connect? Yes or no?
I think what you're speaking to is as like a force main by like a person,
or a gravity main.
Or if it was a gravity main, it wouldn't be private. So even if a private entity puts in a gravity main, it would become ours.
The guidance we've gotten before is if a private company has put a sewer and a road, residents would not be required to tie in. That was guidance we've gotten in the past.
And I'm agreeing with that. And I'm trying to think of a situation where that took place, and all I can think of is the housing developments that have gone in. K Streets. But they're private, that. Yeah. So that's correct. If they were private funded, there would be no abatement.
Thank you for clarifying. Mr. Chabot.
Mr. Moderator, Jim Shabbat, 56 Mansfield Avenue. This article helps out one class of people and hurts another. Currently, if we have publicly installed sewer, you have to hook up within 5 years regardless.
7 years, I think, but yes.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
It's okay.
So this changes it, and you no longer have to hook up. However, when you sell the house, the next person has to hook up within 1 year. So you can take the connection fee off the sale price of your house, basically. You're still hooking up. The second one is problematic, though. Currently, if you front on a street with privately installed sewer, as long as your septic system is fine, you don't ever have to hook up. This changes it. This says when you sell your property, the new owner will have to hook up in 1 year. Practically speaking, that says when you sell your property, the new owner is going to deduct what he estimates that connection fee to be. So this is basically saying people that are on a private sewer, you're going to have to connect even if your septic system works. You won't have to, but you'll have to pay when you sell your house.
Or you could before you sell it.
Either way, it's punishing those people for something they didn't do. A private sewer went by for somebody else's benefit, and now just because you live there, you're going to have to pay for a sewer connection. I leave it up to people to decide.
As it stands right now, you have 7 years to hook up.
No, I'm talking about private. You have infinity to hook up.
Correct.
This changes it. You will no longer, if your septic system is fine, when you sell your house, within a year, you're going to have to hook up, even if the septic system is fine. That's punishing somebody for somebody else's benefit. That's not fair. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Schleicher.
Kevin Schleicher, 42 West Hodges. So my question on the private part of it, like, for instance, the ones we have now, correct me if I'm wrong, like Wheaton, goes down Pine Street to Plain Street and then turns into Gravity, correct?
Correct.
At the LG. So because that was put in several years ago, what would the residents have to do on Pine Street from Fillmore Drive all the way to the LG?
It's private owned.
You tell me.
I haven't been there long enough. I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. Kimball would probably know.
Mr. Kimball.
Seeing that it runs right in front of my house.
Conveniently.
It's a privately owned, but the town does own that. So when the project was completed, in this particular case, that forced main went down Pine Street in front of my house up to Plain Street to the schoolhouse, and then it became Gravity Feed after that. I cannot tie into that. It's a pressure treated system. When they put it in, I wanted to tie in. They said, no, you can't tie into it. So the only time that's going to happen is when you have a gravity feed system. And I guess my question would be, how many privately owned systems do we have?
Yep.
Mr. Moderator.
The private side of the original bylaw that we have currently, we had nothing to do with some of these other private systems you're talking about. What that was there for was, example, as I was saying earlier, Keith Drive, the houses were built and the planning board at the time required the builder to put the dry line in the ground. So when it came time that it finally got connected to the sewer system, the people of Keith Drive argued the fact, and I think rightfully so, that they had already paid the betterment of that system in the front of their home because it was in the price of their home. So that's why that bylaw got put into place. It really had nothing to do with the line coming from Wheaton, or even North Cottage had a line going down to it has nothing to do with those. It's more for if the builder that built your home put a line in front of your house and it probably got paid for through your sale of your, the purchase of your property. And the only thing that I see on this that's a little bit weird is it really should be the seller of the house, just like a Title V septic system, that makes the connection, not the buyer. Because buyer issue could become a disclosure issue at the sale, and the people that are selling it are just trying to get out of paying for it. You know what I mean? So I think that if there's an adjustment to be made on it, you should probably make it like Title V is, where you have to pay to connect before you sell.
Chris, while I have you, if you don't mind. So 163-9, is that new to this article? So the bottom part where it says...
I had nothing really to do with this, but I'll look. Yeah, I mean, I had nothing to do with this part of it.
Well, the only reason I asked, Justin, is because...
That article's not new, just the fact that you would have to tie in is new.
I understand that, but my question more is, so like 163-9.
Yes.
The confusion here is with private funding, because I can make an argument, or anybody can make an argument, that private funding could be North Cottage. It could be the Glen, when the Glen's failed, and the Glen now goes up East Main and ties into Newland Street.
And it was only private funding.
Exactly, but what I'm saying is any owner or occupant of any building upon land abutting on a private or public way. So what I'm saying is you're still bringing private sewer, say the Glen, because they failed, right? They failed, the septic failed. They had to fund the project to come up East Main. Well, all those properties abut private funding sewer. Same thing with North Cottage. North Cottage has got an entire line that is on East Main Street that goes down to the trunk line. So what I'm saying is there's no real, I know I'm playing semantics here, but the next thing that's going to be brought up is, and the same thing with Mr. Kimball's talking about, we may own it now, but the intention of that, correct me if I'm wrong, was that Wheaton's wastewater treatment plant failed. It was not big enough to support Wheaton. So they got rid of it. It's no longer in front of Haas. They now tied in privately because it helped them out. We also wanted LG because septic was failing. So when we got to LG, we then went gravity so that we owned it. So at the time, the people from LG to the trunk line were the arguments on this. And we had this argument repeatedly over and over again because we were making them tie in, and the only reason they had sewer out in front of their house was because Wheaton had to do this. So we were penalizing 6 or 7 houses, 8 houses on that area because of Wheaton needed to do this. We would have never put sewer in. If anything, we would have put a force main in from LG to the trunk line. And those people would not be forced to tie in. And now, those same people that were arguing that you're charging me $30,000 for a tie-in, mandatory within 5 years, are literally 1 year too late. So my question is, I understand this. I understand that the DEP and all these things do not want any more private sewers. I understand all that. But this part at the bottom could be semantics of who's telling me that I can't tie into a private funder when the article says that it's not.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Kimball.
So just so we're clear on the one on Wheaton College. Wheaton College built the system. We agreed to allow them to build a system. It started actually at the school, the high school. Came down West Main Street, down 140, through the campus, to their pumping station, which we converted into another type of pumping station. Up Pine Street, Plain Street, where it became gravity feed. Once that project was done, we accepted that. So that's no longer private. That's owned by the town. So if that ever happens, and I don't know where it would happen where it's private today, based on what his vision is, Mr. Chica's vision, I don't see where a private developer would come in and say, I'm going to run a sewer line from down Mansfield Ave, right, from the reservoir on Mansfield down into the center. I would hope that the town would say, yeah, you can do that, but it must be a gravity feed system. And once you're completed with it, it must be up to our specs, and it should be accepted as a gift.
But we haven't
to the town.
accepted, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't accepted North Cottage.
North Cottage is only designated for one purpose only, and that's North Cottage. So when we built the new town hall, right, and the fire station, we couldn't connect to it. It was privately owned on the other side of the street. So it's not even in the street, it's still going down the side of the street.
I understand that, but then this should read different, or at least say different, because if what you're doing is you're making the argument, what your argument would be is, and how this bottom part is written, is that every single house right now on Pine Street, including yours, needs to tie in. And the reason why is because now you're saying that we've accepted it as a Norton project. And if not, I could make the argument that every single one of those people need to now tie into it.
If they sell it.
But
Yes, but what he's saying is that
I
we
can't
don't.
sell it. I can't tie in.
I know that's the whole point of me standing up here, is it needs to say that.
But it does say, you know, I'm sorry. Connect the building to the common sewer if such sewer is available. And it sounds to me like the sewer you're talking about is not a common sewer, it's a force main. But I think we have the idea here. Go ahead.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Belay.
motion to refer this back to committee for further study.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
And point of order, me and Mr. Shabbat agree on something.
Let's mark the time. 11:05, May 18th, 2026. The impossible has happened.
Mr.
so there is-
Moderator?
Yes, Mr. Schifrin.
Point of order, what if we just delete that bottom paragraph? Because that's not the intent of what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is allow people to not have to tie in after 7 years. And unless you sell it or you transfer the property, then you have to.
So the article could be amended in writing. Mr. Kimball? Oh, yeah. That's correct. All in favor of referring this back to committee for further study? Opposed? Article 23 goes back to committee for further discussion. Article 24.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to transfer from Capital Improvements Fund the amount of $40,000 and approve Article 24 as printed in the May 18th, 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
All right. Any questions on this one? Looks pretty well defined in the article itself. Yep. Val?
Val Cabral, 50 Mansfield Ave. Option one is, because I'm not sure that all of us went to these meetings, I didn't, but I looked at them after. Correct me if I'm wrong. Option one is the one that would take two buildings on Taunton Avenue, 5 Taunton and the one next to it, which I think is 9 maybe, this would take it, instead of going through the common, it would take it to the right of the church, and then it would take down 2 houses. So just, that's.
Do we have
Correct.
a picture
Okay,
of
so-
that we can pull up?
One of those, just if anyone cares for context, one of those is rented to Wheaton students, 5 Taunton. I spent time there myself while I was there. And the one next to it is Eco House, which is is Wheaton owned. Has Wheaton had a chance to talk with us about this plan at all? Or have we informed them that we're talking about, I'm assuming, eminent domaining that property from them? Do we normally do that? I don't know.
Mr. Kimball?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Wheaton goes, they've been involved with the Traffic Safety Committee, which I chair, and they've been involved in a lot of our meetings. They're very much aware of what we're trying to do. It's gone back to the president and through their legal counsel and all of that. Option one, you are correct. It will go straight through. The church will be on, say you're coming off Mansfield Avenue. Church will be on your left. There'll be a new building on the right. It takes out Jack Nicholas's house, which is the next one. It's a fairly new house. And then one Wheaton house behind that. So it's kind of like a small S-turn heading toward Taunton itself. It's the option we prefer. It will cost between $6 and $7 million. It will take two properties. Will have to be taken in the process. The other options we felt were way too difficult and would cost even more money and tie us up in courts for more years than I have. So I think it's probably important that we agreed that probably the option one, which was straight through, was the best option we had.
That's totally, I just wanted to, I spoke with the advisor of the Eco House like a couple of weeks ago, and she was not aware that this was a plan, so that means that I take it up with Wheaton as opposed to us. Wheaton was involved, is what you're saying. It's just
Yes.
that the different folks at Wheaton and not
Yeah,
the ones involved
exactly.
in that house.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Cheryl Senior, 169 Reservoir Street. I have two questions. Could you elaborate on what all other costs incidental and related thereto might be? What those things are?
So at this point, we're just asking for $40,000 to go along with hopefully a grant of $100,000 to move this to the pre-25% design, which is what we need to put it on the state transportation project request. So at this time, that's all we're asking for, is to move it to the pre-25% design.
Is the idea for DOT to pay for the right-of-way?
Yes, that would be the hope.
Construction and the permitting as well?
That would be the hope going forward, but until we get it to pre-25%, we can't get it on their list. So make no bones about it, this isn't 100% design, this isn't a request to have it done, this is a request to move it along.
Okay. And when you say going straight through, this means you're going through the Unitarians' parking?
The street, it's a road right now.
It's not a road,
Right.
it's a parking lot.
So the parking lot where the church is,
Yeah.
that would become the street. If we go straight through there, the church is on your left, new building to the right. It kind of S-turns beyond that and takes out the next two buildings after that. Becomes a four-way stop. It's a four-way intersection. Right now, we've got Taunton Avenue, we've got Mansfield Avenue, like this. When we're done, it's going to be like this. So it's going to take out one cycle of lighting to begin with.
So
But
is there,
It's going to be a direct approach right across.
okay,
You
so
come
is,
down Mansfield Avenue, you're stopping, looking at the church, you're going to go straight through there.
so as part of this study, will it include the replacement of the
Oh, yes.
parking?
Oh, yes, it's going to involve all of that stuff. We
Would it
obviously
go to the
have
other side of the
It's going to be
church?
on the other side. We're going to abandon 140 on the other side. That's where the parking goes.
Okay.
So the streets are going to be swapped around. In other words, if you can picture the church,
So, so
the streets
it'll
are
go,
opposite.
I'm assuming it'll go up to the post office and that's where that
Yeah, yep, it's all
divot
still, yes,
would
obviously.
go? Okay.
Yep.
And is the church involved in any of this?
They're aware of it. They don't seem to have any objection to it. The only objection the church ever had for many years is we attempted to move it, and they don't want it moved. So they're okay with this. This will work for them.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Sweeney.
Mark Sweeney, 14 Laurel Lane. Mr. Kimball, you're on the traffic committee, right? Didn't the traffic committee come up with the idea of a rotary or something along that line, at least for fire and safety?
Yeah.
Wasn't something, why are we looking at it? I love this idea, this is what I wanted, but
Well, there's
what-
three options. There's three options. Option number one is to go straight through the center. Option number two
this
is
is
to
number one.
Right. Option number two is to go right down the middle of the common and connect directly to Taunton Avenue. So it takes the center of the common, right through the center of the common, which, by the way, is on a national register.
Yeah.
It would take us 100 years to get permission to do that. The third option would be to get down, probably the best way to explain it is you start at Library Square, come down around, circle in front of the church, head toward the college the college sign, the green area where the college sign is, and then make loop it back. You lose the parking lot, you lose all the access to all the houses on Library Square. The gentleman who just spent a lot of money on the old library, would lose his egress. It wouldn't be there. So we felt that that was just way too
Detrimental.
detrimental. Yeah, and we felt it was just way too much. And it's not really, it's a roundabout, but it would be in the shape of an 8, almost like an 8. And the side on the library would only be one lane, where everything else would be 2. Because if they go any further on that side, they'd have to take those houses too.
So this is the go-forward plan, to go straight.
The select board has recommended that we go with option number 1, which is straight through.
Okay, and taking the 2 houses, as Val said.
Right.
I called Mass DEP? No, Mass DOT in
DOT.
time, years ago, and they said the only reason the traffic is so bad is because you've got that jog, like you say, 140, east, Taunton Ave and Mansfield Ave are not aligned, so it's the trucks going through there. You've got an extra light. This will, I think, expedite the traffic right there, especially when the schools happen. The school
Yeah,
lets
it's
out.
not going to make it perfect.
But it's got to be.
It's going to make it a lot better, but not perfect.
How many times have I turned around, and taken Freeman Street to try to avoid it?
The story we tell on the Traffic Safety Committee is about 2 years ago, we met with DOT, and we asked our state reps to bring in, and the senator to bring in some DOT people from Division 5 out of Taunton, Mass. And we were shocked when we came in. We had 2 state reps, a representative from the senator, and we had 5 people from DOT, even from people from Boston, that came down to talk to us about that intersection.
Yeah.
I believe there is as much interest on their part as it is on ours.
Yeah, this is the best idea. I've always wanted it this way. Thank you.
Sir with the striped shirt in the back.
Dean Swicker, 9 Clapp Street. Mr. Kimball mentioned that the Unitarian Church is aware of the situation, and I don't think he took it far enough. I'm on the board of the Unitarian Church, one of the members, and the whole Unitarian board is totally against going through the churchyard. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's the first I've heard of it.
Mr. Schlager from the front seats.
Nick Schleicher, 40 North Worcester. I'd like to move the question.
We have a second? All right. Question has been moved. All those in favor of moving the question?
I would like to say a word, please.
Oh, sorry. Didn't see you there. Hello?
Louise Fontaine, 387 Reservoir Street. Is it the reason that the traffic is a problem, that they are changing it, or is it the state is mandating that we change this whole section?
Thank you.
The reason for the change is for traffic and pedestrian safety. The state is not requesting us to do this project.
Because I know of Rehoboth, that they had that rotary on 44, and the town voted against it, but the state told them, this is our roads, and we can do what we want.
The state is not requesting that we do this project.
Okay, is it gonna really help the situation? Or I don't find a problem going through there, and there are other options for me to get home. So I don't really want to have any type of change.
So I think for the purposes of this is just a raise $40,000 for some initial design. This is not authorizing the project to go forward or committing any additional funds beyond the $40,000 at this time.
Right, but why are we paying $40,000 in the first place if it's not going to help? And also the 18-wheelers that come through there, are they going to be able to make it through? Because I've heard on Rehoboth, a lot of them are being detoured, which makes them have more gas to export their product to other areas because they cannot make it through that rotary.
We're not proposing a rotary, ma'am.
No, but I mean, is,
Yes, this will help traffic.
will it help the 18-wheelers go
Yes.
straight through?
Yes.
Okay. And then how about the people that are walking across?
This project is for traffic and pedestrian safety.
Right.
Bike lanes and pedestrian safety, so people walking across the roads.
Now, what happens with the other part of 140, the older section? What are you doing there? Are you cutting that all off?
So I think we're getting a bit into the weeds on this option. If I'll ask Mr. Kimball to kind of put a bow on it, because
Yeah,
Mr. Slager did move the question.
Just fast, what's going to happen is the church parking, which is presently where the new road would go, would have to go somewhere. So the other side would be abandoned. 140 would be abandoned, and the parking lot would be on that side of the church, the opposite side of where it is today.
So when you take a right turn, you're going to go past where that street was.
You're going to go straight through the intersection. You're going to come up Mansfield Ave and go straight.
But if you want to take a turn.
So I think we're
You can
going to.
take left or right, yeah.
So, Mr. Kimball, if you could just point her to where she may find some of this information. I know you guys have done a lot of community forums,
Yep.
and whatnot.
Yeah, we have a lot of information. If you
I
want,
have one right here.
there you go. You've got the
Okay.
copy of it.
Yeah, and that's what I see. But the problem is that, okay, now you're going here and.
So
then you're gonna go-
I hate to do this because it's late, but
Yeah.
the question was moved, and I think we've gone a bit beyond the scope of this article with those questions. Invite you to stick around and talk to Mr. Kimball or other members of the Traffic Safety Committee. I'm sure they'd be happy to do that.
Sure.
But the question has been moved. All those in favor of moving question 24? Opposed? All right, we're going right to the vote on Article 24. All those in favor of Article 24 as presented? All opposed? Article 24 passes by 2/3 majority.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider Article 5.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to reconsider Article 5, which, if you remember from 7 years ago, dealt with the HR generalist position and the Director of Senior Services. So, again, I'll restate, a vote in favor of reconsideration opens up debate to that article and voids the original result. If you say no to reconsideration, the article remains as is and cannot be brought back up. Everybody good? Cool. All those in favor of reconsidering Article 5, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All opposed? It's very mean to make me count this late at night. Can we just do that one more time? So all in favor, please raise. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 6. Okay, thank you. All opposed? The motion to reconsider does not pass. Article 5 remains as is. Article 25.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Chair.
I move to transfer from the Capital Improvements Fund the amount of $100,000 and approve Article 25 as printed in the May 18th, 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
All right. Mr. Town Manager or Mr. Chipka, if you'd like to speak to this.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. In a nutshell, this funds stormwater and drainage improvements on South Worcester. There's, due to the topography, a lot of water travels into a catch basin. There's not enough gallonage to hold it, if gallonage is even a word. But this would appropriately put the drainage water away from the public way.
Thank you. Any questions on Article 25? Seeing none, all in favor of Article 25 as presented in the warrant? Opposed? Article 25 passes by 2/3 majority. Article 26. Article 26. Article 26 is declared lost for lack of a motion. Article 27. Article 27. 27 is declared lost for lack of a motion. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All right. Second. All in favor? Yep.